All right, SBS time. We're at SBS 111. Shout out to author of the Library of O'Hara because I like his breakdowns the most. So we find out what kind of face Arlong would make once he find out that Jinbei joined the Straw Hats, and he would make the disgusted Odin face, which is incredible. That's great. But to jump around a little here, we find out that I was right. I called it beat for beat, bar for bar. Hanafuda is the father of Ulti in page 1. It reads, it's Hanafuda who was revealed in volume 109 of the SBS, the father of Ulti in page 1. I can't believe someone asked that. Someone just straight up asked that directly. And then Oda answers, what? You mean the former warlord who was defeated by Ace? And here I thought I was being sneaky. Well, yes, he's their father. The important thing to understand here is Hanafuda and Kaido's relationship, which I think I also talked about. I said all this in like a video called Dino Daddy, and I was saying like, it doesn't make sense that Kaido was that orchestrated in fighting all these Asian Zone fruits, and the only one who had their abilities before joining the Beast Pirates was X-Drake. I kept leaving out X-Drake. And then it makes sense because he's the first Agent Zone that we see in the series. So yeah, but continuing. Although they clashed in the past as pirates, since they shared similar goals, they joined forces. And so Hanafuda's hobby of collecting Agent Zone fruits was for the sake of strengthening the Beast Pirates. Hanafuda was fascinated by Kaido's strength and was one of those who worked hard to make him the Pirate King, kind of like King or Albert. After being stripped of his warlord status by Ace, Hanafuda was killed by pirates who held a grudge against him as he was on his way to reunite with his children. Now, do I think he's dead? No. I don't think he's dead. Because here's the thing. I have never seen a character get this detailed of a design out of an SBS, and to have this much lore despite not ever being named or appearing in the manga proper. He can't be dead. He simply can't be. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you ask me. Now, I made a video about Hanafuda having the dragon fruit model Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I did say I thought that the one art request of Ulti in page 1 in the room with all these dinosaur plushies, I keep saying that the thing that's in between them is probably a reference to their father and not X-Drake. I keep saying that because here's the thing. I was told that T-Rexes in the real world have 2 fingers. That is true. However, in 2015, in Montana, they did find a T-Rex with a vestigial 3rd digit. So I don't know. And of course, the art request came out way after 2015. So I don't know. Then on top of that, looking at One Piece as a whole, there are several instances in One Piece Treasure Cruise and then in the manga proper during Little Garden where we see T-Rexes, right? They have 3 digits. So whether it be the real world or just One Piece specifically, Tyrannosaurus Rexes are depicted with 3 digits. That's why I'm saying I think Hanafuda is the user of the dragon fruit model Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think that is him being represented by the plushie in between Ulti and page 1 during that art request. Just saying. I just don't think it was X-Drake. Now, I could be wrong, and it could just be X-Drake, but the reason why I don't think it's X-Drake because the dragon representing Kaido in the ceiling has spines down its back, and by this time, X-Drake's Allosaurus form had a change to its design in which it was given neutral spines running down its back into its tail. And the plushie doesn't have that, which makes me think this plushie is supposed to represent Hanafuda, their father, and not X-Drake. So with that being said, I could also believe that they knew that their father could become a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is why Ulti was inspired to get the fruit for her in page 1 in the first place. But continuing, the planet, the One Piece world, is called Blue Star, which is also pretty interesting. That leads us into this information not necessarily being new, because we kind of knew this from the cover story of NL going to the fairy of Earth, which was the moon, in chapter 472. Then we find out that we don't really know what bridge was being sailed under in the Oden flashback by the Roger Pirates. We know that there are 4 bridges, but Oda won't say whether it's Tequila Wolf or Bourbon Wolf, but it's definitely not Tequila Wolf. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think much of that. It just is what it is. We also find out, too, that artificial devil fruits will not reincarnate after the user dies, which I kind of figured that. There's no jury on whether they can awaken, but if there ever was one that could awaken, I could believe it being Momonosuke's fruit, because that seems to be the most perfect fruit so far. And we have not seen Momonosuke's hybrid state yet, so that's something to think about. We also find out that Snack was the one that got beaten to death by Kid, and that's where Kid got the poneglyph rubbings from. So Snack is terrible. No feats at all. He doesn't do anything. We don't even know if he has a bell fruit or not, which I can see why he got his Sweet Commander status revoked, because he's bad. He begged for his life against Kid. So Kid beat him to death. That's crazy. Despite his design being kind of sick, I like Snack a lot, but yeah, he has not done anything. Does he look like a big tempura shrimp to you? Because look at him now, he kind of does. I never really realized that, but yeah. So yeah, no, beaten to death, worst member of the Big Mom family, actually bad. So we also find out that all those little mistakes that people were theorizing at the start of Elbaf, when the Straw Hats were in Rhodes Tour Country, people thought those were hallucinations, but it turns out all of those are just art mistakes. So oops, they were the result of the Green Fairy. They were all just art mistakes. And yeah, wow, it is what it is. I don't know. Now, here's something that you can take how you want, but I was right. I'm gloating about it. I was right, and Oda does confirm this. There is a such thing as a failed Zoan awakening, because he brings up that Minotauros and the rest of the Jailer Beasts are failed Zoan awakenings. And then he says, yep, close call, Lucy. So there has to be a formal explanation as to what makes a proper awakened Zoan and what makes a failed awakened Zoan, because I think there are 2 people at least who are using the improper format properly. I've called it an ogre-ish transformation in the past. So I think those 2 are Chopper and Sengoku, because both of them are really large when they attain their respective states, and they resemble the Jailer Beast a lot, because Sengoku gets really big and bulky and doesn't have Haragamo, and then same thing with Chopper. He gets really big and bulky in his Monster Point state and doesn't have a Haragamo either. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that is how to use the ogreish or failed awakened state properly. And I think there has to be some sort of mental blockage that keeps them from awakening properly. Probably with Sengoku, it's something probably to do with him being a Marine and following orders and not walking a path of complete peace. Maybe that's why. And with Chopper, I'm not really sure. However, I think this will have to be explained sometime in the future. Now, there is a question about Crossguild. The reader asks, I don't understand very well how Crossguild operates. It's referred to as operating like a company and a business. If they give money to any civilians who take the heads of Marine soldiers, I feel like they go bankrupt really quickly. Then Oda says, Crossguild's very existence is a big problem for the Marines. The fear of being attacked by anyone anywhere has tanked their morale quite a lot. This slows down Marine operations, making it easier for the dark companies of the underworld to operate, meaning they make more money. Crossguild serves as a public front, with the dark companies paying for the bounty sums. Furthermore, there's a dark side of this world that gambles on which Marines will be killed, which results in even more money from society contributing to this fund. So in reality, they're actually making quite a bit of profit. That's why I say that any theory on the internet for the final war or whatever that discounts Cross Guild is fraudulent, because from this right here, Oda is telling you that their existence is a big drop in the ocean of the world. The ripples of their existence affects everything. Buggy on top. Buggy on top indeed. I can't stress that enough. That's why I keep saying, like, I could believe Cross Guild just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because it doesn't make sense for an organization that's attacking the Marines directly to just fade away by the end of the story. Because there always are going to be people in the shadows betting on the Marines' downfall. Even after the Marines are reformed by Kobe or whatever, this thing will still exist, because people will always be banking on the Marines to fail. That's why when the Marines are on top, it's such a triumph, because there is an opposing force betting for their downfall. It's all very intricately woven together, and it makes it good. That's why I'm saying you cannot discount Cross Guild. They were created for a reason. With that being said, we also find out that if Luffy had satellites like Vegapunk, the majority of them would just be York, and then one of them would be Atlas. So it's greed, wrath. That's funny. I like that a lot. Interesting that York is being highlighted here. That may mean something. It may not. But I do find it funny. We also find out that the banana and or whale styled haircut that a lot of the celestial dragons have is called a noble opener, which just sounds like it's referring to a banana, because Oda says, wait, the tip of a banana is called a banana cocoa? I wasn't expecting that, though from what I could see, there isn't an official name for that. But that's not what the question is about. Because the question was, is there a name for the banana cocoa looking hairstyle that the celestial dragons have? And he goes on to say, all right, the celestial dragon hairstyle, that's called a noble opener. It's easy to remember because it looks like a wine opener. Would you guys open a bottle with that? So it's supposed to look like a wide opener, which I guess that makes sense because it has like a regal feeling to it, but it does look like a banana. And many people have said it does look like a whale tail. Also, we get an update on what the Straw Hats would look like now if they were all eaten by Wapol and combined together. The original one was from SBS 33, and his name was Gargon, which is weird. I never knew that. And the result is more horrifying than the first one because it's just a mess. And it's got a little cigarette on top of his head. Fantastic and horrible. I love it. With that being said, that's pretty much all the relevant information. Lastly, we get a bit about Jinbei using a sink brush of sorts to scrub his big fangs because the other teeth just kind of fall out on their own because being a whale shark fishman, they grow back rather quickly. The weird thing about all of this is that, and I've never really heard people point this out, but Jinbei is a whale shark fishman and whale sharks don't really have big teeth. They have itty bitty tiny teeth, as whale sharks are filter feeders. They eat shrimp and plankton and such. So I'm not really sure why he was designed to have these big Oni fangs, because he himself doesn't even look like a whale shark. He looks like an Oni. So it's always a weird bit about him that his teeth are so prominent, whereas the fish he is based off of is notable for not having prominent teeth. So I don't know what to make of that. But with that being said, that is actually all I have for you today. Give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What?